You're listening to the Faith and Business Podcast with me, your host, Elle Edwards, the Mindset Geek from the Faith and Business Playground, here with Bible-friendly brain gymnastics to help you be joyful for Jesus in 2019. In today's episode of the podcast, we are thinking about and talking about and preparing ourselves to be ready to be joyful for Jesus in 2019. So if you listened to the episode on Tuesday, you will have heard me talk a little bit about my mission for this year and in the years to come, I imagine, as well. I don't think it's going to be something we're going to get done in a year, but who knows? We could do. But we were talking on Tuesday about reclaiming Christianity for love and delight and all that good stuff. And the question that came up when I first introduced this idea back in 2014 in an airport in Cardiff was, well, how are you going to do that? And I do believe it starts with one person. It starts individually and then us coming together collectively. Of course, one person can't do this on their own. That would be crazy madness. However, one person can talk to another person and can empower another person. And then we come together as a community. And as a community, we can then make that difference. But it actually starts with you. And this is why in today's episode, I've titled it, Ready to be Joyful for Jesus in 2019, ? Because as much as it would be lovely to think that there's just a checklist of things that I can do and it's done, it doesn't work that way. And so as I started to talk about at the end of last year, and it's become much more apparent to me, you know what Christmas is like. You muse on things and, you know, you listen to those nudges from God and we do our best as people of faith to be led by God. And it's become more and more apparent over the last few months and even years. This has been quite a journey, that it actually starts by empowering you to show up with a smile on your face. There's a verse in the Bible, and I didn't come prepared because this reminder just popped in my head. I haven't got it in front of me. But that verse in the Bible, I want to say it's in Timothy, and I can find it and put it in the show notes, where Paul, I think, says to Timothy that encourages him to always have an answer, a kind answer, speak graciously and kindly, but an answer as to where does your joy come from? And if you've been listening along to the podcast and the Mindset Minutes for the last few months, I can't believe it's months. We're almost up to episode 100 of the podcast now, which is crazy, really. I never thought when we started this back in the summer we'd get to 100 episodes. But you might have noticed a shift in my language, and it's actually been quite deliberate. I've shifted my language from happiness to joy and delight, because delight, I think, is one of my favorite words. Delight, as an aside, I see delight as being this thing that we do and we choose to see those lovely things. That's kind of what delight is about, and it also encaptures that delight that children have as well. But that shift in my language to actually start talking about joy rather than happiness is very deliberate, because I imagine I'm not the only person who has days when things feel a bit or just maybe moments in days when things feel a bit ugh. You might be going along having a perfectly delightful day, and then something happens, or maybe someone you care about, you know, doesn't have a great day and they come back from school or talking about the children or work. And it's almost like their grim day threatens to infect your otherwise lovely day. But even in those moments, we can still find the joy. And that's why my language around this has shifted. We're shifting from happiness to joy. And of course, it's happiness as well. It's delight. It's all of that stuff. But joy feels bigger, and it feels more biblical, and it feels more all-encompassing. So I do believe that the very best way, the most effective way that you and I have of reclaiming Christianity, of I'm not going to say again what I said on Tuesday's episode, but the brief version is ultimately being an antidote to all the and the sludge around what that label Christian has come to mean. Because, you know, let's be honest, some Christians and some Christian organizations over the years, historically, I'm going back hundreds of years as well, I'm not pointing fingers at organizations today specifically, but over the years historically, the church hasn't always been the kindest. And you know, the leaders of our churches haven't always necessarily done a great job of reflecting Jesus. And ideally, you and I on a good day, on a day when we're full to the top with God's love, when we're showing up made in the image of God, these people that God empowers us to be, ideally, I believe that we can be an antidote to that. But it starts showing up. It starts with you showing up day by day. It's not like as if we can wave a magic wand and it be a done deal. Instead, it's about how we choose to show up every single day. It's about how we choose to interact with the people that come into our days on a day-by-day basis. And sure, there are days when we get it wrong. Even though my word for the year is joy, but there's already been moments in this year when I've been a bit like, really? Are you sure? I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And it's only like however many days in. We're already halfway through January. So I do temper this with realism as well. I mean, anybody who tells you should be realistic, I'm like, yeah, you're okay. Let's just embrace the fun instead. But I don't want you to run away with the idea that I'm going, oh yeah, you can be joyful all of the time. And I do hope, we talked about this in the Mindset Minute earlier in the week. I do hope that that I give you that perspective, because it's not about being delightful and joyful and happy all of the time. It's about your default state of being, I guess. If ultimately you're living as this person who's full to the top with God's love, embracing everything that he's doing most of the time, those times when things are a bit rubbish, your bounce back muscle will be strong enough that, yeah, you'll feel the feels, you'll deal with whatever you're dealing with, and then you get back up again and you move forward. That's the reality of life. And so it's not about never having a bad day ever again. It's not about, denying the rubbish stuff that happens in life, because there is some tough stuff going on. Instead, it's about building you up and filling you to the top with God's love so that your default is delightful. I hope that makes sense. So it really does start with you and me, and we can come together. And that's why last week so some of you will know I've got a little Facebook community called the League of Brilliance, and it was set up middle of last year and is very small at the moment. And the ladies and gentlemen in there are delightful. And as the work evolved with the Faith and Business Playground, I wasn't entirely sure what to do with the Facebook community, because the Faith and Business Playground has got a Facebook group associated with it. And in that group, we do the group coaching and there's training and all that sort of stuff. And I didn't want the League of Brilliance to be, it couldn't be a replica of that. It serves a different purpose. But I wasn't entirely sure how to make it work. And then last week, I was out walking the dogs. There's something, I think, like the way my brain works, and God uses that time, when you're free from distractions and your phone isn't pinging you and your brain isn't full of all this other stuff. Maybe it's the shower for you. The shower is the other classic time for getting those ideas. But as I'm walking along and pondering, okay, what to do with this space, I didn't feel like closing it. I didn't feel like getting rid of it, but I didn't know what to do. And that's when it suddenly struck me, well, actually, we need a space, because, rewinding slightly, the Faith and Business Playground, the paid work, the coaching that we're doing there is very specifically aimed at women entrepreneurs of faith. So if you're a Christian business owner and you're a woman and you want to grow your business and at the same time as supporting your faith, that's what the Faith and Business Playground is for. And it does it brilliantly. Art of the Ask starts, like today we're having I was looking at my calendar then, because it won't surprise you, I'm actually recording this a few days ahead of it going live. But at the day that this goes live, it's the 18th of January. Today is our first group call for Art of the Ask. It's brilliant. It's wonderful. I'm really excited about that work. It serves a very specific audience. And it would be naive of me and foolish even. This is the thought that popped in my head. Well, hang on a minute. It's not just women, or not just women in business, who want to be joyful for Jesus in 2019. If you're really genuinely honest about this vision for reclaiming Christianity, you need some men too. You need anybody who feels compelled to join in this journey and this mission with you. They should have a space to do that. And so the League of Brilliance suddenly became the focal point for that. Okay, I've already got this group. Let's do it there. Let's use this space where we can come together and build each other up and encourage each other. And so that's what we're doing. And so I went off on a tangent and I forgot my train of thought completely while I was telling you about that. But I guess it's about coming together, and I guess that's the link. Because if you are a person of faith, if you're somebody who this idea of helping to be the change, there's that quote where we don't, and again, I'm going to slaughter it, you don't change stuff by undoing what's already there. You change it by creating a new paradigm. And that isn't the quote exactly. A new model, making the old model obsolete, something like that. I shall find it and put it in the show notes. And you might already know the quote, in which case you'll be saying it at the screen. But okay. So instead of trying to fight against what already exists, we're about creating a new paradigm, a new example, and showing up every single day. But it can get lonely. You might not know very many other Christians. I mean, ideally you go to a loving church and you encourage each other, but even church can get quite lonely. My experience at least has been the bigger the church, the more lonely it can be, which is feels counterintuitive. So maybe you're not actually surrounded by that many other Jesus geeks, for want of a better expression. And so that's what the League of Brilliance is for, that coming together, encouraging each other, building each other up, asking for prayer when things feel difficult, asking for prayer when things feel brilliant, of course. Coming together and helping you see that it's not just you, and empowering you and equipping you so that you can then go out into your day by day, being full to the top with God's love. And so in answer to how are you going to do that, which is where we left Tuesday's episode, that's how we're going to do that. It's about, and that's what this episode is for, I guess, is an invitation. If you're someone who's listening, who is ready and excited about the idea of being joyful for Jesus in 2019. And I know that sounds slightly cheesy. It's alliteration. I love alliteration. Words are beautiful. But I make no apologies for the fact it sounds slightly cheesy, because it just puts a smile on my face. And that's the thing as well. I should add the caveat that I know that there might be people who come along and go, oh yeah, I really want to be joyful for Jesus 2019, but I can't do it your way, Elle. I'm sorry, you're just a little bit too off the wall. That's fine. I won't be offended. I would encourage you instead, though, to find your tribe. Find the people for whom you do resonate with. That's more important. It doesn't really matter. Yes, I would love you to come and join me in the League of Brilliance, and we can do this together. But if my brand of joyful for Jesus doesn't quite resonate with you, go and find somebody who does, or start your own. It doesn't matter to me. The biggest thing really is about empowering you and equipping you to help you show up with a smile on your face. So when somebody says to you, like, why are you so happy most of the time? Why are you the way you are? You can give them an answer that points to Jesus. And that so together, God can be glorified. And together we can reclaim what it means to be Christian in the 21st century. So I'm going to end this episode with that invitation. If that feels like something that is exciting to you, is something that goes, yeah, I want a part of that, the easiest way to join us is simply to go to faithandbusinessplayground.com. You'll see there's some words on the page, but there's a big orange button that you can click. Click the orange button, come and join us. And I'm excited to get to know you and to introduce you to the other Jesus geeks that we have there. Thank you for listening. I look forward to catching up with you next time. In the meantime, if you are listening to this on Friday, have yourself a wonderful weekend. And I shall catch up with you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.